which means I bow to the divinity in you, and Shalom Rayo,
Shalom Rayo.
Means good morning. How's everybody today?
Good.
You're sure? Well, we are excited as always to share the story and the mystery, the my story of atonism with you as atonists, because you as atonists really should feel honored, you should feel privileged, you should feel proud to be an atonist in this day and time. In this day and time where people are lost for a moral compass, in this day and time where people are lost for an identity, a purpose, etc., etc., you have all of those things, and you as an atonist as an atonist should live as an example for those who are lost, for those who don't have their true religious identity. And so with that, we want to hold up our original books of the Bible as we say aloud, I am an atonist Chorastian.
I am an atonist Chorastian.
And this is the original books of the Bible.
And this is the original books of the Bible.
It is the ancient African version of the scriptures.
It is the ancient African version of the scriptures.
It is a guidance sent unto me.
It is a guidance sent unto me.
It tells me how to live.
It tells me how to live.
It tells me who I am.
It tells me who I am.
And it tells me what I have the potential to become.
And it tells me what I have the potential to become.
This day, I shall learn from it.
I shall learn from it.
That which I learn, shall strengthen me. And with that, I am grateful. To a Naay. Amun. Well, today's sermon is entitled, Do you have the mind of a Naay? Do you have the mind of a Naay? And what it's simply asking is, are you an extension of the Most High? Because in order to be an extension of the Most High, you must embrace the divinity within you. Amen? And this embracing of divinity within us, it sounds good on paper. You know, it's fun to read. It's maybe even fun to watch. However, when you decide that you're going to embrace the divinity within, there's a process that must take place. And we must be aware of the process in order that we don't miss the boat on this reality. And so we're going to be reading from the original books of the Bible as well as the myth-made King James Version. However, the main text for today is one of our parchments. Are you slave mind, student mind, or God mind? Are you slave mind, student mind, or God mind? And this is, of course, is one of the many parchments that our Basesh, Hotep Tar, has provided by way of the guardian angelic host, by way of a Naay for atonists. And you have to understand, atonism is for atonists. Say that.
Atonism is for atonists.
So if people are not atonists, then don't expect them to understand atonism. Don't expect them to appreciate and understand your true religious identity. Don't expect them to embrace the original books of the Bible, because it's not for them. When you held it up this morning, you said, this is my scriptures, this is for me, this is teaching me how to live, this is telling me my purpose. It's not for the world, it's not for everybody. There will be those who will seek to embrace it, and there will be those who embrace it. But you as an atonist must always remember that you have a purpose. Don't expect the world to embrace you. You're not here to be embraced by the world. And oftentimes I think we may get a little leery, and we may forget that, and we may get a little hurt, and we may get a little upset because people who are not atonists don't embrace us the way we maybe feel that they should. Come on? And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's also important that we remind you that you as an atonist are doing what many pray to do, what many strive to do, but unfortunately many don't have the tools to do. What do we mean they don't have the tools? Before we jump into this parchment here, let's go to the original books of the Bible so we can be clear about this, right? On page 248, if something was done to us in order for us to be in a state where we don't even remember that there is such a thing as atonism, we don't even remember that there's a true religious identity. This is coming from book 13, the book of the Canaanites of the Phoenician stock of Hindus. And on page 248, verse 46, it reads, "Now amongst them were those who did mix with the fallen angelic beings, thus were called by names such as Cheddar." So we live in a day and time whereby people are preaching this doctrine of unity. We must all unite. You see, watching the protests in the United States with the NFL, on one side they're saying everybody should unite and get behind their flag and the national anthem. And then the next clip, you got their president saying, "Not the Puerto Ricans want us to do everything for them." You feel me? But I thought he was uniting. Right? Same thing in this country. You know, in one breath, you're talking about the Bahamas and what's best for the Bahamas. But then as soon as you start trying to fix things, people start taking sides and taking corners and trying to figure out how to protect their best interests. We know it ain't about the Bahamas. Yes? And so the reality is, why is this happening? You are dealing with people who are mixed, who are genetically linked with the fallen beings, with the fallen angelic beings. And this is spoken of in Genesis chapter 6. But it says the reason for their ignorant mentalities, so the original books of the Bible calls certain mentalities ignorant. Ignorant of what? The reason for their ignorant mentalities was based off of the fact that their pantheistic beliefs dealt with the hidden and mind-mystifying teachings which the fallen angelic beings had utilized to control the mortals amongst humanity up until that point, whereby they were able to actually hide and keep the realistic knowledge of atonism from those who need it and do still need it most. So someone or a group of someones has stepped in front of the reality of the Most High and presented themselves as the Most High, and in doing so, they are hiding the realities needed by humanity in order that we live our fullest potential. How do we know that this is true? We know this is true because people are living a base existence. You know what I mean by base existence? When you see people don't have shame anymore, when you see people, they let little EJ get killed up the road here. The man run through people's yard, run through the road, and they ain't find out who he is yet. Now I'm not saying those people at the end of the day don't want to turn them in, but we understand they're scared. But there's still a level of base survival that, you know, I gotta look out for me. Aside from what happened to them. I gotta look. See, there's a time going by where the police wouldn't have to deal with him. The police would just find him. You understand? And I ain't advocating that, but I'm just telling you that's actually happening in some cases in this country. Right? But people have been mystified. People have been kept away from realistic knowledge. It says this was perpetuated by the fallen angelic beings through a process whereby they utilized simple half-truths and allegories to interfere with what the Adama group of Homo sapien, known as Canaanites of the Phoenician stock of Hindus, were being taught concerning atonism in order to keep them bound in ignorance. So you are presented with the scripture, And all your life you were told that this King James Version or any Greco-Roman interpretation or version or translation, because the word version simply means a translation of. And they gave you a translation of, but they never told you what the translation was of. You thought, oh, they just being nice. They translated it from Greek to English, or they translated it from Hebrew to English. But what they were doing is putting before you allegories and half-truths. And so the people that have the mind that questions, they're going to be asked to leave the church in many instances. Because this is not a book that you're supposed to question. When you start questioning it, you start blowing holes through some of the so-called biblical facts. You understand? And so we move to what I think is important for us as atonists to hear. Because in knowing that we've been lied to for so long, you cannot expect for people who are still being lied to, who are still accepting a lie, to understand where you are. And it's a lonely road. And that's why we ask, do you have the mind of Naay? It says, how do we develop the attitude of becoming a goddess or a god mind? Because ultimately, it's page 322, ultimately, when you have the mind of a Naay, you have adopted a god or a goddess mind. It says both the goddess mind and god mind respectively is that of taking ownership of your own destiny. Why would you not want to develop such an attitude? So the question is, why would you want to actually own your own destiny? Why would you leave your destiny with a government? Why would you leave your destiny with a job? Why would you leave your destiny with someone you just love or like? You, as an atonist Charastian, must take ownership. What does ownership mean? I am fully responsible for what happens to me. Everybody say that.
I am fully responsible for what happens to me.
And if you really accept that you are fully responsible, then stop giving people power over you. You know what I mean by giving people power over you? Anytime you blame somebody for what happened to you, you're giving them power over you. That's not an atonist mindset. That's not a god or a goddess mindset. When things happen, you smile or you don't smile. But you say, that happened. Why did that happen? Let me figure out why that happened. Let me take responsibility, or at least control of it. Even if I know I didn't do it, I still got to figure out, well, why was I there for that to happen to me? I'm not giving anybody any kind of control of what happens to me. You see, being a goddess mind or god mind is without limitation. Think about that for a second. There are limits, and there are infinite possibilities. What does that mean? That means that every excuse or every reason or every factual reality that people put in front of you, at the end of the day, is a limit. It's a border. Well, that's impossible because, no one's ever done that before. Well, that just means I have to do it. Usain Bolt didn't say it's impossible to break Michael Johnson's record. No one's ever done it before. The young boy get on the track, and he even run the whole race properly and break the record. You think he's worrying about Michael Johnson? You think he's worrying about the world record? Somebody mentioned that they were talking to him at the last Olympics, and he had the finals the next day, and they said, oh boy, you got Justin Gatlin tomorrow. You ready? I say, no, I don't. I have me to deal with tomorrow. He in my race. You understand? This, when you step out into the world, you ain't going to deal with nobody. And you let nobody deal with you. You're dealing with yourself. You have to decide what the limitations are. It says, the goddess mind or God mind is without limitation, either in time, effort, or level of responsibility. It is a commitment for life. Everybody say that.
It is a commitment for life.
It is a commitment for life to the best interests of the global Nubian Melaninite family first, and then humanity as a whole for the remainder of your life. Oh, that's racist. Oh, they only look out for each other. No. We didn't say that. We look out for each other first. It's called nepotism. In this church, we advocate nepotism. You're not supposed to do that. Really? With the rest of the world doing it? The rest of the world making sure their family straight first, and then you, when it comes to you, you making sure everybody else straight, and then your family, then you want to know why the family can't get along? No. We have to do as it speaks in the book of Revelation chapter 7, where it talks about all of those tribes being sealed. 3 groups of 12 royal tribes in Revelation 7. Let's look at it so you can clear what I'm saying. Revelation, let me pull it up. Revelation when I speak with Basesh, we speak just about every day. And these are the conversations we have with regard to how we as atoners function. So it says, and after these things I saw the 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on them, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. And he said, don't hurt the earth, the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. He didn't say seal everybody. Right? Then they go through all of the tribes that were sealed. Right? Then it says what? After the 3 groups of 12 royal tribes were sealed, then something happens. And lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. So this didn't happen until the 3 groups of 12 royal tribes were actually already sealed. This is very important for us, because we got to understand how to deal with each other as family. You got to understand that your atoners family comes first, because this is a commitment you made for what? For life. It is actually a state of service to the greater good. Thus it comes only from a deep spiritual, undeniable purpose, whereby any other motivation will quickly fade with time. So this is not a fly-by-night. This is not something that you feel motivated to do in one day and the next day you're not really into that. This is something that every day you wake up, every day you breathe, every day you think, how can I improve myself? How can I improve my situation? How can I improve my people? Every day. The process of becoming a goddess mind or God mind takes from months to years, and its responsibility never ends, whereby it becomes more and more demanding with every passing moment. From months to years, and it what? It's not going to get easier. Thus, the only reason that for personally accepting becoming a goddess mind or God mind, thereby because there remains no other reasonable choice. The only reason why you say, I got to do something for my people and I got to do something for myself, is because you don't see any other option. You look around and you don't see any other viable option for you to get the world or put the world in a better state. Not just for you, but for your children's children's children. It says, be warned. Everybody say, be warned. Look at your neighbor and say, be warned.
Be warned.
Be warned. You say you wasn't warned. Be warned, the goddess mind or God mind and the works which it will drive you to accomplish will become your life and your purpose, something which all the great masters agree that we wouldn't wish on our worst enemy. That's what you signed up for. Hey, you know, we will make sure we process that. Look at your name and say, be warned.
Be warned.
The goddess mind or God mind and the works which it will drive you to accomplish will become your life. Say that. Will become your life.
Will become your life.
Will become your purpose.
Will become your purpose.
Something which all the great masters agree that we wouldn't wish on our worst enemy. That's what they warning you about. I mean, I ain't trying to spoil the Sunday, right? But do you have the mind of an Eric? That's the question. Nor would we wish on that enemy what it takes to gain the experiences needed to transform into a goddess mind or God mind, for it allows for no time out and for no personal options. All of your experiences are no longer your experiences. You trying to figure out what I have some me time. I can be able to, you know, kick it with the family. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do those things. I'm just saying you will be asking that question. It says there is no divorce from it. Everybody say that.
There's no divorce from it.
You can afford to talk about what you don't like and who you don't like and why you don't like, and I can chill for a little bit. All right, we waiting. There's no divorce from it, and there is no way out. Ah, sorry. Oh wow. Ah, the master. You come right down. Let me read that again. Oh goodness. It says, there is no divorce from it, and there is no way out. Once in, always in.
Come on.
You decide that you are going to live a life of the Matonis Korastian. You're going to seek to be a god or goddess mind. There is no way out. What does that mean? Are we saying that we're like a gang, and if you decide you're going to leave, we can beat you down and blood in, blood out? No, that ain't what we're saying. He's saying once you know the realities, you'll never forget. You can afford to play crazy and go somewhere else and sit up and sing and laugh and act like you don't know. But once you know, and you never forget. That's what it means to be a god or a goddess mind. So when you decide, oh, well, you know, man, I ain't really moving, I ain't moving at my speed right now. You know, I got to find something else to do. You can go. We ain't going to beat you. We ain't going to stalk you. When we see you, we say namastu. Well, good afternoon. Or how do we greet you? We know you know. You know you know. You can afford to be out there playing like you don't know. I'm on? I'm on. It says, the Most High Heavenly One and Naay can't be tricked, nor can we pretend to be permanently committed, then change our mind. Cannot pretend to be permanently committed and then decide, oh, well, you know, trying to deal with my life. All the other excuses we hear. You know, and one thing with me now, I just smile. I got too much things on my plate. I can encourage you. I can say, man, just show up, man. That's all you do, just show up. Don't get too busy for yourself, because that's what you're doing. You ain't make no commitment to me. You ain't got no commitment to Pastor Eneas. Anku Sarah, Ka-Hun Anku Sarah did not make a commitment with you. You made a commitment with your ancestors. And wherever you go, there they are.
I'm on.
I'm on. It says, the presence of a Naay within each of us is such that this divine willpower has the resources to assure that everything continues in accordance with Ma'at, whereby when a web page, seminar, or personal one-on-one time is needed to promote atonism, it becomes manifested through the goddess mind or God mind, respectively. What does that mean? When you have true faith in what you've committed yourself to, that which you've committed yourself to makes a way. You understand? And it's important because there's a formula here. This is not a sit down and pray and things happen church. That's not what this is. We are a true faith-based church, which means you're going to work. So a lot of times you'll find people making excuses as to why I can't really deal with all of that ritualistic stuff. They're just lazy in many cases. Nothing hard but lighting candles. Nothing hard but following instructions, unless you just want to do your own thing. Come on? So it says, and all of this occurs regardless of the effort, the exposure, the resource required, regardless of the inconvenience, regardless of the potential for criticism, regardless of its impact on any personal time, regardless of other commitments, regardless of being physically tired or asleep, regardless of how you feel or what you would like to do. Once you have decided that you have taken on the goddess and the God mind, it's happening. I went to bed about 4 this morning. I keep saying, but you know, you go to sleep. And it's like, yeah, anyway, add this to the sermon. And I'm not trying to make it seem like, oh, I hear a voice, and you know the feeling. You know when you pushing and you say, boy, let me catch myself, and you close the computer, and then another thought, boy, you know, it'll be good to add that. Yeah. Whether it's a project, whether it's a sermon, whether it's a piece of art, whatever, you get back up. All right. Because if I don't do it now, I'll forget. You understand what I'm saying? If after knowing this, you are still interested in becoming a goddess mind or God mind, then it is about getting mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically purified, or purifying yourself and relearning how to discover, enforce, and live in tune with Ma'at. Many of you, it's too late. You didn't hear this sermon before. You're already in. You already know. So the best thing now is for you to purify. What does it mean to purify yourself? Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Give back that which is not yours to this society which is not yours. Give it back. When I say give it back, I don't mean you have to make this drastic change that will make people freak out, you know. That's not what we're saying. I'm saying when people say to you, oh boy, you know, God is so good. He spared us from the hurricane. And the Tony says, they was projecting the hurricane to not hit us. So are we spared? Well, the hurricane was never coming. See, they get mad at us when you see stuff like that. No, they blaspheme, they don't believe in God. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying like I can see if the projection said, oh, straight in for Nassau. Because you know Nassau is the Bahamas. Because the hurricane still let us in.
Right.
All in Ragged Island, all on so we get beat up. Oh, and God spared us. It did hit us. Right? But when you hear those things, when we say give back, you gotta say, oh Lord, you're worshiping Zeus. You're worshiping the Greek gods. And the Greek gods, they work by favor. You know, scriptures say Most High is no respecter of men. Why would the Most High spare the island with the most murders and the most murders on it? Make any sense? This is the island that should hit. Clean up the Bahamas. It says there have to be several experiences and even more failures to learn what must be done as goddess mind and God mind respectively. We said it again. There have to be several experiences. 144,000 ultimately for your lineage. that even as you in your personal life become a God or a goddess mind, there has to be several experiences, and then it says even more failures. No. Serious thing, you know. Because oftentimes, when you decide you're going to live your true religious identity, and then things don't seem like it's going the way it's supposed to be going, again, the people who worship Zeus would say, see, that's because you turn your back on God. That ain't what atonism says. Atonism says, no, you must go through certain failures in order that you be able to identify with those who you must now speak to who has also failed. Because if you cannot relate to them, then you will not be effective and you cannot reach their heart. Everybody's failure is going to be different. You understand? And failure is really based on expectation. Everybody say that. Failure is based on expectation. So if you don't have any expectation, you never fail. And that's how many people live. They don't have any expectation. Yeah, it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? You know, be kicking it. Amen, you know. Well, that happened? Oh, but you know, God works in mysterious ways. No real expectation. The reason why they don't have expectations is because they don't have plans. The reason why they don't have plans is because they don't have an agenda. The reason why they don't have an agenda is because they don't have a schedule. The reason why they don't have a schedule is because they don't have a life. The reason why they don't have a life is because they gave it away to some spook. Come on? As such, when you have given your heart and life commitment to the cause of global liberation of the Nubian Melaninite family, the first thing you shall experience is the pain of realizing that the very people that you fight to liberate can still run out on you, usually for a lack of honesty or courage. The very people you're going to put yourself in harm's way for, the very people you're going to be studying all night to teach, will be the same people who could run out on you for a lack of honesty and courage. This is the reality you have to live with. You understand? Many times, Brother Sheen and I have seen the Kanisa fill up and the Kanisa empty up. It's the time you've been there too. I'm talking about people who've been here from the jump, just to go Reese. It's not a knock on anybody. I'm just telling you what we've seen. We've seen people come and go. We got to keep pushing. We got to say, well, you know, we've seen people leave and come back. But we got to be here. We got to be atonists every day. We don't get to take a break. We don't get to get our lives together and then come back. No, we got to be every day. It says, and that over and over again, they may take you for granted. So they may run out on you. It's the first thing you'll realize now. Over and over again, not just one time. Over and over again, they may take you for granted, even when you know they are part of you. My Lord. That's why at the end of the day, you can't really get mad at people. You won't get mad, but that's your brother, that's your sister. Right? And even with this, you will have to keep getting up again and remain in the fight for liberation for the sake of those not yet born. See, if you're doing it for somebody in this room, I might as well let you know. You set yourself up. Because someone in here can make you mad enough to say, man, I ain't finished. I ain't done with this. You got to do this for the children yet unborn. You understand? They ain't make you mad. They ain't here yet. Do it for them. Right? Being a goddess mind or a god mind is a thankless job. Everybody say that. Being a goddess mind or a god mind is a thankless job. Like being a teacher. Like being a social worker. Like being, you know, maybe even a policeman or the people who you see are garbage men. Look at those garbage men and they say, boy, you only notice garbage men when they don't come in. That's when you Paul McCartney, they pick up my garbage for 2 weeks. Tell me, man. Huh? Once they coming on time, you ignore them like they ain't there, like they flies. Let them know come though. Thankless job. So, huh?
Thankless and payless.
And payless, oh my Lord. We can make some money though. We ain't gonna be broke. We ain't no poor righteous teachers. We can make some money. They'll sell well. Being a goddess mind or a god mind is a thankless job, so much so that it is often the young and so-called pretty who aren't interested in anything so serious because they quickly see that the more you do, the more you have to do. If you don't like work, when you roll up around y'all, you know, while you marveling at what you did, they say, okay, that's good. Right? Now, you see the section over here? Yeah. I thought we was going to have a party, but this one was going to celebrate. I thought he was going to make, you know what I'm saying? Put up some Facebook quotes and, you know, no awards yet. No, that's because we finished that. And we getting over here. Right? It says, simply put, once you figure out how to do some aspect of the development process towards becoming a goddess mind or a god mind, Ma'at will raise the standard and force you out of your comfort zone again in order that you may learn something new through having to accomplish doing something even more difficult. This is no glory. There is no glory to bask in and no one applauding any of the effort. So the minute you get it, the minute you, I got that part. It's okay, good. I'm going to give you this now. Oh man, I just learned how to balance these things. Okay, now hold one foot up. Hold one foot up. Yes, hold one foot up. Then you get that part. Okay, good. Now kneel on the next one. What? I got. Okay, now touch your nose. Right? That's how it feels. Because as you get comfortable, Mark says, okay, good, because we're developing you. You're being developed into a god or goddess mind. A god or a goddess mind is a mind that can respond to any challenge. Which means that Ma'at, in preparing you as a god or goddess mind, will put you through various challenges in order that you be able to respond to the challenges when they come. Amun? Amun. The most you can ever expect is an occasional kind word. Must do, hey, good job. And you cannot be vulnerable to being flattered by it. Because then you will be vulnerable to being hurt when criticism is received. And most important, will begin to compromise your integrity to attempt to gain the flattery once again. You get caught up in the compliments. The compliments, the criticism, they should all roll off of you like water off a duck's back. Take it and keep moving. Let it roll off, keep moving. Amun? Amun. There will be no one in the world that you will be able to talk to about what you are going through, save those who have also chosen this path of goddess mind or god mind through their actual actions and deeds. I know. Your best friend, your mommy, your daddy, your cousins. You be at the family reunion just smiling. Hey man, hey, good. No hot dog for me. Huh? No, I know I used to eat it, but I don't eat it no more. What happened? Them people out in the church got, listen, I don't eat it anymore. I mean, we got a row for this family. You know, and I only put a little bit of pork fat in the rice. See, I can take it. I can take it out, you know. And ain't no pork in that. But you cook it in the rice. See? Oh, let's go read these fancy books. Catch feelings when people cook for you. Anyway, don't eat it then. Don't eat it. Come here, sweetie, you eat it. Yeah. It's a lonely world. It's a lonely world. Right? It says, other than that, you are going to quickly realize how alone with your feelings you really are. And at that point, you will discover how potent within you Naay truly is. Because you're by yourself. This is why the Kanisa is so important. You know? This is why it's so important for you to touch base with the Kanisa at least once a week. See, because the Kanisa provides a condition for atonism to thrive. The world you go into every day, every week, every month, every year, that world that you out there, the vibration of that world is not a vibration that creates the condition for tonism. So you, as an individual out there in the world, you are not powerful enough to affect change on the world all by yourself. You got to be able to come back and get that vibration again. Good vibration. Every time we go through this service, every time we go through this mass, everything that you say is a memorization of the reality of what you're living. You understand? It goes on to say, remember these words, O children of Naay, which describe how the Hotep speaks unto you. For there shall be no mortal person from whom you can get advice, such as a close best friend, unless they too have chosen to walk this straight and narrow path towards embracing atonism as a goddess mind or god mother. So people may want to try to understand why they don't see you anymore. And it's not, I know for me, I can speak for myself personally, right? I have friends that I've grown up with, I have people that I've grown up around, and I don't see them like I normally used to. Not because I duck in them, not because I don't want to see them, I enjoy being around them. Atonism, however, has me so busy that I just don't have time. I've missed many parties, I've missed many birthdays. I supposed to go to a funeral today. My next door neighbor, who I grew up with, passed away from cancer. We the same age. I said, well, I'll see you, it's Sunday. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's what this thing does to you. And I'm not complaining one bit. Not at all. It says, we repeat and stress this because most people you should encounter on Tar Earth can't even begin to understand what you are doing.
One.
After you've explained it to them. You explain it and they still don't understand.
One.
And few in the world are even interested in listening to the explanation. Is this true?
Yes. One.
In the end, your lives are going to be about doing what you were genetically engineered and assigned to do. It's really at the end of the day what you are up against. You were prepared, you were pre-programmed, you were pre-engineered to do what you're doing right now. However, if you don't take the time to unlock the genetic code, then you're going to just feel lonely and you're going to feel helpless. Nevertheless, there are those amongst you who now read this parchment who are genetically predestined to be goddess mind or god mind respectively. And of course, if you are of this Kanisa or somebody who's watching and you say, I feel like that's me, then of course you should contact the Kanisa in your area, whether it's in the Bahamas or the United States or the UK, because we're here for you. You understand? Finally, I just want to say that there is a formula. I'm on? What is this formula? Because to merely talk about being a god or goddess mind is one thing, but how does it all work? What is put in place for Atonis Karastians to make this a reality? Because on our very seal, there is an 8-pointed star. Okay? And this 8-pointed star, it speaks to different things. Yes? See it on our seal. But this 8-pointed star is there for a reason. It says these 8 points, this is on page 325, these 8 points must be acknowledged in all we do. for they are that which we must have in order to fully liberate ourselves from the enslavers amongst the Indo-Aryan, Caucasian, Anglo, and Pale Arab Emirate, and their devil-minded helpers amongst our racial family, black devils. Page 325. So, these 8 things, watch how they line up. So, many of us, we came seeking what? Truth. You can write these down. Came seeking truth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. A lot of people don't want to hear the truth, and because they don't want to hear the truth, it's unfortunate, they will never ever experience true justice, true peace, true freedom. Come on?
Come on.
This truth then leads to justice. True justice, ma'at. You cannot have justice without truth. And this is why a society built on lies will never have justice. See, the police force is supposed to represent justice, or the enforcement of the laws that will provide justice. But when many of us see the police, we get nervous or go the other way. You should never run from justice. You should always run towards justice. I'm not knocking any individual policeman. I'm just saying that the system that they have been assigned to enforce the laws for is an unjust lying system, which causes for us, when we see them, to go the opposite way. Huh? So when you see justice, you should run towards it, not away from it. That's how you know their enforcement, the laws that the society is built on, is not built on truth. It's the residual effects of a criminal action. Colonialism, imperialism, enslavement. That's what our society is built on. That's what our nationhood and our nationality is built on. Lies. How you could take a bunch of people, rape them, take them from their families, destroy the ethos of their culture, and then put a flag on that and call that a nationality. No. We're responding to an oppressor. Each flag in the Caribbean, each flag of so-called Nubian Melanites is another representation of we as a people responding differently to the same oppression. That's what we are. So once you have justice, then you will have peace. See, because the scales must be leveled. See, justice represents balance, level. Right? And this is why we pointed out Psalm 107. Pointed out Psalm 107 in order that it says, "Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he hath redeemed from the hand of the enemy, and gathered them out of the lands from where? East, west, north, and south." East, west, north, and the south. It's again speaking to the 8-pointed symbol that we wear. They wandered in wilderness in a solitary way. What's the word solitary? The word solitary here in the Hebrew is yeshimon. Waste, wilderness, a desert, a desolate place. Alright? A wilderness. Right? Then you decide you want to do it on your own, then unfortunately you're by yourself, literally, figuratively, and otherwise. You're trying to figure things out on your own. You're not allowing any scripture to guide you. You're not allowing any example to guide you. You just want to do what you want to do. And this is what they're saying about our people. They found no city to dwell in. Why would you not find a city to dwell in? Because you don't want to humble yourself. Because any city you go to has rules. Even if you say I'm in the gang have rules. No? So you can't get away from it. It says, then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them out of their distress. And he led them forth by the right way. What's the right way? The right way is the Yashar way. The Yashar is a straight, upright, correct, straight, level. See that there? That's level. So when they say the right way is the Ma'at way. Aha. That's what it's talking about. Right? It's talking about this justice, this uprightness. Right? It says, and he led them forth by the right way that they might go to a city of habitation, Akit Aten. A city where we would inhabit and where we would be separated from Apep Zuin. Oh, that men would praise the Lord for his goodness and for his wonderful works to the children of men. With all that we have, we still ungrateful. For he satisfied the longing soul and filleth the hungry soul with goodness. Such as sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, being bound in affliction and iron. What does it mean to be bound in iron? This word iron, Brazil, iron core is a material of furniture, tool of iron, harshness, strength, oppression. So oppression is also used as a tool to restrict you, as a tool to actually not allow you to live your true religious identity. Like telling everybody that what you're doing is wrong and causing people to look at you differently without even investigating what's going on. Because they rebelled against the words of, this word is not God, the word here is Yil. El or Al. Okay? They rebelled against Naay and contemned the counsel of the Most High. So, when we find ourselves in a nation looking for peace, the formula is right here for what we're doing. We're going against the Most High. Because every time you hold up the Greco-Roman misinterpretation of your true religious identity, you're going against the Most High. Once you have peace, once the scales have been balanced, then you have freedom. Then you have freedom. So you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. But in order for the truth to have any effect on freedom, there must be justice, and then justice must bring peace. And then once peace comes, then you will have freedom. Once you have freedom, now we can love again. So you want to start a love. You can't start a love. How you can love in a lie? No? Our oppressors have lied to us, continue to lie to us, and they will go jump right to love. Well, you gotta love your neighbor. You gotta love your neighbor as yourself. I need to know the truth about my neighbor first. I ain't gonna just love him because he's my neighbor. You gotta love him like you love yourself. But I know me. So if I know me, I need to know that neighbor too. Eh? Huh? Once love is in place, oh boy, now here comes the joy. Now we are jovial about, or cordial about, respectful about. You know, the fun can come into play. You see how much work you got to do to get to the fun, the joy. Mm-hmm. Yeah? Once the joy is in place, then you have unity. See? You don't have unity, first of all, without the truth. First of all, without justice, peace, freedom, love, and joy. So oftentimes, in an organization, people will work together because they have to work together because there's a common goal, but they're not enjoying it. So there's no real unity. You understand? There will be no real unity until there's joy. But there will be no real joy until there's love. There will be no real love until there's freedom. There will be no real freedom until there's peace. There will be no real peace until there's justice. There will be no real justice until the truth. It all hinges on the truth. The only way we will succeed is with unity. Because then comes success. This is the formula for you as a Tunis class students. You need to write this down. You need to, a little story, as I'm telling it, I'm saying it this way because I need you to remember it. I need you to always think about these 8 points. Because these 8 points is what's going to allow us to gather our people from the 4 corners of the planet. And we say 8 because you also have northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest. The 8 points of the compass. That is how we're going to win the hearts of the people. We must first bring the truth. Yes, the truth may offend a person who's living a lie. It may cause a person that's living a lie to actually move away from you. It's not a bad thing. When you put up terrafilm and when you put up certain symbols and people get scared and run away from you, it's because it's doing its job. They're not supposed to be around you. God, I ain't never going in there because they don't want you in here. You ain't supposed to be in here. That's why we put these things up. It's like when we was having, I think it was Adisa, and in the Tower Red book, there's a prescribed way for us to prepare the room. Yes, as we've done before, many of us. And we put up certain symbols and we put up certain talismans. And we have certain statues. And I was busy unpacking my bag and I was putting stuff up and I named the tape. And the nurse, she was from Nigeria, and so she figured because she's from Nigeria, she knows all things African. So see, we some dumb behaviors, we don't know about Africa. We have time to wear these things. So, well, miss, that's why Nigeria backwards. You need to get back to your roots. Africans didn't create Nigeria. The British created Nigeria. So stop acting like that's an African state. That's a British company that started Nigeria. So don't act African around here with me. Next thing I know, she hauled up down the hall. Another nurse came in. Pleasant attitude. She ain't even asked for the statue. She ain't even asked for the stuff on the wall. All she want to know is what? How's the mother doing? Oh, you're doing your job! Oh, you come to be nice? Oh, thank you. It's the pastor going up the road. You know, my wife and leave you wearing with the statue. So these things are in place to move certain energies from around you. So don't allow people to cause you to move your protection. Oh my God, it's the Illuminati symbol. Or they call you it. Yeah? They told you that? You have the Illuminati, you're in the Illuminati WhatsApp group. Child, it's our symbols. Anyone who's wearing this is with us. Huh? Seems like anybody who's successful and doing for themselves in the Illuminati. Isn't that strange? Well, LeBron James number is 6, and when he hold up to 6, oh Lord, that's 3 6s. That's the devil. Oh my gosh. Jay-Z is the Illuminati. Oh my God, Beyonce. Oh my God. Really? That's where we are? So these 8 points allows for us, with all of the pressure of being a god or a goddess mind, there is a reason for doing so. It's not all bad. It's not all, oh man, it's lonely. Oh man, I'm tired. Yes, that's a part of it. But this ultimately is what it leads to. This is what the nation says it wants. This is what churches say they want. This is what organizations say they want. But it first starts with the truth. Psalm 119 verse 142 says the truth is the law. Yes? That's what we want people to write these things down because they say, that's your truth. That's what they say? That's your truth. I have my truth, you have your truth. That ain't what the Bible says. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and what? The law is the truth. Psalm 119, verse 142. Sorry. That's a little small for me. Psalm 119, verse 142. So then, you can do that, eh? Because the truth better be based on the law. What law are we talking about? Ma'at. That brings justice. Because the scales are balanced. See? So remember, we're not just a church. We're not just some place where we can come. I mean, it's good to feel good and get a spiritual massage every once in a while. We're a teaching church. This is a university. You understand? Take these things serious. I see you all taking notes. That's a beautiful thing. Go back and look at this thing and process what the guardian angelic hosts are guiding us. I wouldn't tell you how this message came. This didn't keep me up. This was one of them. Oh. While I'm in the car waiting for somebody. Yeah. What? All right. That's how it happens sometimes. And then you got to build a sermon around it. Right? But this is very important. So the 8-pointed star, the 8-pointed crescent, the crescent and the 8-pointed star and the Anku, or the eye, all has its symbolism here. All has the manifestation of the symbolism here. And so far as the formula. This is the formula we must use to unite with each other. This is the formula we must use to be joyful with each other. This is the formula we must use to have love with each other and be free amongst each other. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Because only then can we say that we have the mind of a Naay. With that we say Amun. Namaste.